Welcome, I'm Colin Daniel from riffninja.com, and today we're going to have a lesson using the 9th chord. If you'd like to find out more about cool chords like this, you can check out my Ultimate Blues at riffninja.com. Now, this is a series of lessons. This is lesson number 1 out of a series of 3. And I'm going to start, I'm not too sure what level you're at, but you should know a little bit about chords because this is a tricky chord, and you need to use a little bit of less formal type of technique where you wrap your thumb around the neck a little more, and it depends on the width of your neck and the size of your fingers too. But the 9th chord is a terribly misunderstood chord. It's actually part dominant 7th or part blues 7th, and then it adds the 9th note. The 9th note is the note that's 1 octave above the 2. So in your scale, if we're going to do a D 9th, which I've got here, this is a D 9th and it's a root 5. This is the chord we're going to learn to use. And I'll give you some pointers on executing this chord and getting the technique right in a second. But it's a D 9th chord, which is this is actually a D 7th with the 9th in it. And the 9th is actually the E note that you find on your 5th fret, 2nd string. And that makes it a 9th chord. So the trick with this chord is that your 1st and 2nd fingers have to come at a nice even arc down on the fretboard, because one of the problems that my students have with getting this chord is because you have the 2nd finger on the 5th string and your 1st finger on the 4th string underneath it and behind it. To get this 4th string to sound out, everybody seems to have a difficult time with it. So if your fingers are arced too much, you're going to get this muted thing happening, and you don't want that. So you have to find the sweet spot, because you want all 5 strings to come out nice and clear. This is your root on the 5th string. This is your 3rd. Now, when you get to the 3rd finger takes care of the 3rd, 2nd, and 1st string. And I kink bar it, and the way you need to get that so it's clear, because if you try to play it conventionally, more than likely you're going to struggle with it. You want to wrap your thumb around a little more. You want your thumb to come around, creep around a little bit. But you still want to be able to clear that 4th string, right? And the usual problem, like I said, is the 2nd finger, the fleshy meat of the underneath of the finger there touches that 4th string, and then your 1st finger back here, no matter how hard you press on it, because the 2nd finger on the 5th string is killing your 4th string note. So that's the first thing you got to work on. And then after that, the other trick is to get the 3rd, 2nd, and 1st string nice and clear, because you need all 5 of these notes in order for it to be truly a 9th chord. All right, so now we've cleared the air with that. And like I said, my thumb isn't even centered, it's more wrapped around, and I actually tilt my hand back just a little more. And you need to use this fingering, because if you want to go ahead, there are other embellishments you can make with your pinky later that I'll share with you. Now, this chord, because it has the dominant 7th in it, meaning the blues 7th chord, is already related to the 7th chord. So any song you have, any progression you're using that has a 7th in it, the 9th chord can be used as a substitution. And this is what we're going to do right now. We're going to take a basic 12 bar, key of A blues. We're going to use an A dominant 7th in a root 6 form. I'm sure you've seen that before. This is A major, this is A minor, and this is A 7th. You can also create an A 7th with your pinky, which I've got down right here for the A 7th. I've got the pinky at the 8th fret, 2nd string, right? So I'm going to use this A 7th. We're going to use a 1, 4, 5, the 3 main changes in A. It's going to be A, D, and E. Here's the nice thing about that. Here's the A 7th, here's the D 9th, and here's the E 9th. And that's a very popular grouping, and it works really well in 12 bar. You know, so you could do 4 bars of the A, 2 bars of the D, 2 bars of the A, 1 bar of E, 1 bar of D, and back to the A. And then you've got yourself a really cool sounding blues chord. And that, what I'm trying to tell you, or what I'm trying to get across here is that, you know, one guitar player could be playing A7th, D7th, and E7th at these positions, or maybe A7th like this, D7th, and E7th like this. And you can play the 9th chords over them, and there's no conflict at all whatsoever. So now I'm just going to put it into a 12 bar and show you that really it's a really nice sounding chord. It goes a little bit to the jazzy end sometimes too, and that's cool. Here we go. I'm just going to do a 12 bar. 1, 2, 3, 4. So instead of a D7th, I'm going to play a D9th here. Instead of an E7th, I'm going to play an E9th here. Then the D9th. So now I'm going to show you how to use the 9th chord in a 12 bar. And this is in the key of A blues. I'm going to start with an A7th. That's going to be my tonic chord. My other changes are going to be a D9th and an E9th. Those two chords are actually substituting the D7th and the E7th. And we're just going to put it in a standard 12 bar, which is 4 bars of A, 2 bars of D, 2 bars of A, 1 bar E, 1 bar D, and 2 bars of A to N. Okay? Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 bars of the A chord. Now I'm going to go to a D9. It's a nice change. 2 bars. Back to the A for 2 bars. Up to the E for 1 bar. To the D for 1 bar. To the A. A very cool chord, to say the least. I like to slide up in the chord. This is a little bit of a bonus for you just at the end here. I like to do semitone slides like this. And I'll do the same thing with the 9th chord. Isn't that the coolest? I think it's very cool. I hope you've enjoyed this lesson. If you learned something from it, you might want to subscribe, or you might want to check out the next lesson too. All right, see you again.